No, just kidding. I don't know what happens when I record to the cloud, so I had to stop that and record it to my computer. So
Oh, you don't know what the clouds is? It's just this this
I
thing
don't. Yeah,
that doesn't exist.
I don't know how to get to it. I've lost other, not of these calls, but I've lost other calls because I recorded to the cloud and then tried to get them and I couldn't.
You're halfway through the podcast going, oh shit, or halfway through the call, and it's like, I'm not going to be able to find this. I'm pretty sure you just log on to Zoom. You're going to have a bucket load of calls in there that are just sitting there waiting to be downloaded. If you just log into Zoom, it should be there.
It was. I mean, it was on a different account. So I think part of the problem was they like slowly. It was my school account, and they were like slowly deactivating my account. And I think they had you like lose access to the cloud first before you lose access to Zoom. So I was still having Zoom calls on that account and saving things to the cloud. And they was like, you don't have access to the cloud. Contact an administrator. I was like, well, I'm probably not going to do that because I graduated like 2 years ago.
They're still using this account. Let's hope none of those people listen to this podcast, hey, because then there won't be any more at all.
Yeah, well, this isn't the school Zoom account. But yeah, and then for a while, I still had my Calendly like schedule Zoom calls on that old school account, and like I would log in and it would be like waiting for the host to join, and then the other person would log in waiting for the host to join. I would like try to log in. It's like you don't have access to this. It's like, all right, well, this is the problem now. So that caused me. Then I had to be like, all right, I have to actually get Zoom now. Which is it's much cheaper than I actually thought Zoom was going to be.
Well, what is it? Not even a couple of $100 for the year.
I don't think it was even $100 for the year. I think it was like $98 or something for a whole year.
Yeah. Here in Australia, I think I reckon it's $180 for the year. Yeah, something like that. Because everything that's from America is just a ton load more expensive than than what it is like, or in Australia from the US dollars. Everything just, because I've got a whole heap of US subscriptions. Like there's some account things that I've got with Xero, and then there's something else, well, Calendly as well. Like usually it's this much, but then you get the international transaction fee and ATG as well. Another international, yeah, I get hit with all these international transaction fees. You've never had to buy anything outside the US. So for me, I've got like, I would accrue, I don't know, maybe a couple $100 in international transaction fees. Maybe it's my bank. Maybe my bank's just stitching me up.
I don't know, because I've bought a couple things from like whenever I buy Vivos, they're from the Netherlands. And I don't know if they just bake it into the price, but like I've never seen external.
I think it's for online things. Yeah, I think it's for online things or like subscriptions. So like whenever I like the ATG runs over, I always get the international transaction fee. Whenever Xero, like the online accounting service that they've got, comes and takes their money, it's like an international transaction fee. Yeah, that's right. It's just life in Australia at the moment. Life
what about Uncom? Does Uncom?
Yep.
Oh
yeah, everything online does. Yeah, everything online.
I've never gotten Uncom. I've never gotten an Uncom charge like that.
Well, that's because it's in US dollars.
Oh, so it doesn't matter where it's located; it's what the currency is.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed anyway, and that's probably what it is too. So
that would make sense. I've never bought anything online not in dollars.
There you go. So that's probably why. Yeah, and so I'm getting it's at US dollars, which is it's 90 or 100 US dollars, but it's 150, 160 Australian dollars plus a $4 or $5 international transaction fee. So it's just like, yeah, it's a bit of bull crap, but I guess that's why everything's moving to crypto now.
I guess. What's is it like 1.5, 1.6 for the transaction? What is it?
I reckon it's, so usually the ATG is 146-ish, and then another between $3 and $5, so whatever that is.
Yeah, it says one and a half right now, which is convenient for changes. Yeah, it's 100 and for level 1, it's 100 in the US for ATG.
Yeah. I tell you what though, I am pushing hard. Like this year is level 2 for me, like big time. I've just been smashing the dents. I'm going full 12 weeks on the dents. I mean, 0, I didn't really feel like that was going to be not that it wasn't going to be a benefit. I'm sure that there would be some big benefits in that for me. But going 12 weeks of the dents, then 12 weeks straight into the standards straight after that, because like it's about time we take it to the next level. I'm just waiting for Ben and the ATG crew to come down under to actually run an event, because I think it was just what was it, a year ago to today or yesterday or the day before, where you had the ATG event. Man, that's I still remember not being a part of that. And then having the conversation with you, like going back to that, if you think back to it, obviously a lot has changed, but that was probably just like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Hey.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to when you go to like one of the training camps, like when I was down there with Ben and Marcel and the guys for the training camp. It's a similar thing. It's almost, I don't know, it's different. It's the whole expo thing was just so many people that it was like 80% like, oh, I've seen you online, that's your name, this is who you are as a person. It was like 80% of that, and then like 15% training, and I don't know what the other 5% would be, eating maybe, but yeah. But then when you go to the training camp, it's like you wake up, you get a coffee and eat breakfast, and then you're at the gym until like 5, just training and learning, listening the whole time. So as much as I liked the expo, I think I prefer the camps. Maybe it's fun to have a lot of people there like that, but the camps are really fun. The other thing, so you're gonna go for a full 12 weeks of 0 and then a full 12 weeks of standards?
Full 12 weeks of dents. Then
I meant
standards.
Dents. Yeah.
No. No, I think the reason why I want to go through a full 12 weeks of dents, and it might stop at 6. Like maybe we might stop at 6. Just go, because we've done 2 weeks already. We're into the final bit of the second week, and like I've already noticed a massive difference, a big difference since starting 2 and a bit week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Just in terms of like not that I was in pain, but like I would always get these kind of aches from my knee, especially the one, or just the one without the ACL in it. And so since starting it, I've noticed just a massive level up, and it's just like progressing through. I don't know. I just feel like 12 weeks, and it might be less. Like it might, like I said, it might only be 6 weeks. It might get to the 6 week period and go like, fuck, I feel really, really strong. You know, like I want to move on to the standards. I feel like I can attack the standards now. Might not be. I'm just giving myself 12 weeks. That's what I'm doing. So yeah. I don't know. Your opinion?
Do you think you would get better results if you went 4-4, 4-4, 4-4 back and forth
between dents and standards?
And then probably just up the weight every time.
Probably, instead of progressively. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, this has kind of been talked about in the post chat for ATG quite a bit. And I think some of the people that we were talking about going through 12 weeks, 0, 12 dents, 12 standards got misconstrued a little bit when they were recommending it to everybody. But it's like 12 weeks is a long time to do the same exercises with the same number of reps and the same tempo. Like I did when I was an ATG client, like I did 12 weeks of dents, and like 7-8 weeks into it, I was like, geez, man, I would do anything right now to get to standards. Like I do not want to do this anymore. And then I got to standards, and it was like I did like 4 or 6 weeks, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. Part of that's me, when you talk about like the neurotransmitter typing, Like
Mm-hmm.
I need to change more often. But it's also like the law of accommodation. Like it's generally like the old Paul Quinn rules were like it was 6 times, but 6 times was 30 days when you do 5-day blocks. So it was 4 normal weeks or like 6 5 weeks, whatever. It's just that like stimulus. Like I think the way you feel after this 2.5 weeks, you could stretch it out 4 5 6 maybe 7 weeks. And then I don't think you're gonna have that same level, but then you hop on the standards and you're gonna be like, you're gonna have it again. You're gonna be like, oh shit, like this is really good. Then it's gonna taper off again, and then it's gonna be like, all right, back to dense or whatever. You do a new program. Yeah, this is. I mean, Ben Clearfield's talked about this a lot. And the other thing is, do you think you could write yourself a better program than standards and dense?
I think I could, but I don't think I'd follow it.
That's
Like that's
a very fair point.
that's my honest like looking forward opinion. Like if I've got something where I'm just like I'm following this whole thing of like this is not mine, so I'm just going to follow it and continue to follow it. More than likely, it's going to happen. Whereas if like I write, I go like, yeah, I could probably change that, and I could probably like do this, and like that would be better, or that's what I honestly think would happen. So, I mean, I've been feeling pretty disciplined lately to have stuck to it every single day. So like the dense training on the app is just 5 days and then resting over the weekend. But it's like I don't actually feel. I feel like resting will be more so detrimental to me. Like if I just stop and not do anything over the weekend, like I still want to continue doing it. So I'm just backing it up, like just restarting from the top and going through, restarting from the top and going through, and then just finding my limits as well. Like for example, the external rotators, like actually feeling that exercise more since starting it more. And when I say feeling it, like as I'm doing it, I'm not just kind of like trying to jerk through the motion, like actually slowly for 15 reps, like slowly controlling that movement down and then slowly coming back up. And it's like the back of my body on that right-hand side is just like humming. It's on fire. And like to feel that has been, it's in a weird way, it's been really rewarding because it's like, yeah, I can actually feel what should be working, what is working, and even looking at it too. So like as I'm going, we've got our chest through, but I'm actually looking and seeing how it's moving. You can actually start to see everything start to pop out, and it is rewarding. It's just bloody hard.
So you are doing like a 5-day, a 5 split.
Yeah, so pretty much just going the dense so following the dense on the ATG app, and then just going every day. So the 5 days, then just go back up to the top and start again. 5 days every day, back up to the top, start again. Yeah. So I probably will do it for 4 weeks, because if I'm doing that every single day for 12 weeks, yeah, it's going to be feeling. Although to be fair, I'm going to need some sort of structure, because with the baby coming along, I don't think there's going to be much. So I'm going to need something. Like I work out whenever I can now, as it is. So that's going to be even more so the case when the baby's here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do that, I mean, I'd probably say 30 days. If you're gonna do the 5-day split, so you'd be do 6 times, and then for the next 30 days do standards.
Yeah, it's good.
For the next 30 days, yeah. Then you got 120 days there. You'll keep getting stronger.
I'm really yeah, no, I was just gonna say I'm really looking forward to, because I made this decision to actually put some time and effort, and not some time, to put the time and effort into coming back and playing, like, and to feel the way that I feel now, to actually see the results after 2 and a bit weeks, like since I've been training, and start to see and feel like the strength and definition and even that power in my legs and comfortability too. Because like for me, whenever I would do a VMO squat or an ATG squat, like my knees, especially my right one, would just like I think there's cartilage in there or something, and so it would click like right at the bottom. And initially that click was like really uncomfortable, but now it's just like it's just a click. That's all it is. And I'm sure eventually over time, like that click is going to slowly disappear and fly away. But it's not just going to do that without me doing nothing on it. So like to have those things already occur so quickly in the grand scheme of things, like I said, it's only been 2 weeks to have that already. It's really, really cool. And it's like I'm feeling stronger as well in terms of like the base, even in terms of like Nordics. I've only done Nordics 3 times three times in the last 2 weeks. And to actually feel more confident and comfortable with those movements, like dropping it down so my chest is hitting something, really trying to think about keeping my hips through. They're still not all the way through, but like instead of having my ass back and just hinging over from my hips and then coming back up again, like actually loading up my hamstrings a little bit more. It feels nice. Like it feels really, really good. And you can start to notice those benefits as time progresses.
Is it still 5D5 Nordics in dense?
No.
Oh, that was wild.
Yeah, I can imagine. So there was in the dense, they just got it on, well, Ben's just put it on. No, I haven't got it up there. What is it? 20, it changes. So like, I'm pretty sure there's 2 chances a week to do knee flexes. I only do the Nordics once a week though, like as in through that week. So I'll jump onto the triflexor and bang out some single leg hammy stuff instead, and then just add a couple of reps on. I know it's different stimulus, but that's just the way that I prefer to do it anyway. But it's 20 flexes, 5. No, wait, what is it? Yeah, 20 flexes of ankle flexes, 20 knee flexes, and then 20. So like triple flexion, for example. But then there's some other ones in there with like some soleus and that sort of stuff at the end, and hip flex. Like it's just mixed up all together. But that's more or less the way that it's sort of done. With instead of ankle flexes, it'd be soleus or calf raises or something like that. So ankle extensors, like that's the only real difference in it. But it's no longer 5D5 because that would be gnarly.
We talked about, we were talking about this when we were down in Florida. It was dense is not the same thing that dense used to be. Dense used to be absolutely brutal. Like I remember one of the days was, I think it started off 3x20, all 3, or no, it was 3x20, standing calf raise, leg curls, and hip flexor raises. And then you went over and you did 10D10 squats. And then it was seated mornings afterwards. If I don't know if he still does the 10D10, but if you loaded up that 10D10, it was brutal. And then one of the other days was 5D5 Nordic. So for anybody listening, D is on the minute, every minute on the minute. So 5D5 Nordics is 5 Nordics at the start of every minute for 5 minutes. So 25 Nordics in less than 5 minutes. It was just eccentrics, I think. But at one point, standards might have had 5D5 concentric Nordics.
Yeah, I reckon that's where they're at now.
5 sets of 5 concentric Nordics. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
The 5D5 had to be changed because I think people were hurting themselves.
Now it's got like, so the only dense workout that's in there is Poliquin steps. 10 every minute on the minute.
Yeah, I really like that.
10 or 20, like that's good. Yeah, I quite enjoy it. I think it's supposed to be one leg every minute, and then you swap between the 2. But for time's sake, I'm doing both in the minute just to smash them out and to get them done, because I just don't have an extra 10 minutes. Like I don't. So I'm just fitting it in. Then there's the 5, same with the ATG split squat. So there's 5 every minute on the minute for 20 minutes. And I just do the same, like I'll just swap. I'll do 5 on one leg, 5 on the other leg in the same minute, then swap again. It'd probably be more beneficial for me with actually doing it as like 1 minute on one leg, 1 minute on the other leg. And then there's the 10D10 for the VMO squat as well, which I've been slowly progressing. So like really bringing it right back down. Obviously like body weight's the first one. Before that, there's like the assisted ones, just so I can do it without pain. Like that's a big thing for me. because it's just the right side with the clicking and the popping and everything in there. Like it's just gradually kind of progressing that back. Because I've got full flexion. Like I can drop down on the floor and put my head back down with my knees bent, like you see the kids do. They just kind of they fold up like a deck chair. So doing that is pretty easy and no pain. But then as soon as you start to load it up a little bit more, that's when it starts to get a little bit iffy. So yeah, he's still doing the dense workouts. And I think they're the only 3 from memory that are actually done in that dense kind of style. Yeah, no Nordics in there anymore.
Yeah,
I reckon Standards does though.
I think split squats used to be 10d5 because I remember like this is gonna take forever
Yeah,
to do this. Maybe not. I could be wrong, but yeah, those workouts are awesome. They're again, this has been talked about as well. They're like some people have taken it like a little bit too far, and it's like, all right, I'm just gonna do dense and standards forever then, because those work so well for so many people. Like that's probably a bad idea. Like if you're a coach and you're like, I want to get the best results possible for me, and granted you're like you don't want to have the external reinforcement of doing a dip for somebody else's program. You're like, I write my own programs because I want what I know is going to be for me the best thing. So not that I didn't do dense and standards, but it's like I did them once and I probably won't do them again. Maybe, I don't know, because they're like nuclear bomb programs. They're like to help as many things as possible, but not pinpoint on like one thing. And there's other things that are like you'll never get a snatch grip podium deadlift in there, just because that's such a difficult thing to form, coach, and people will get hurt. But like I like doing them, so it's I don't know, brilliant programs. But if you're a coach, there's more on the other side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the way that you phrase that, as in like it's that nuclear bomb approach, because like with the understanding that structural balance as well, like I think that program taps into working everything and trying to get you as balanced as possible for the like being a balanced individual, not in terms of like close your eyes and try and balance on one foot, but like you talk about with your seated good morning and your squat and whatnot. Like, have you noticed the transition yet? Like for you, that was something that you struggled with initially. You were always talking about like your seated good morning was never up to scratch. Seated good morning was never any good. Like, have you noticed that transition? Have you been working on progressing to get that structural balance?
Yeah, I mean, my seated good morning used to be really bad. Now it's like, I think I'm trying to remember what the standard is. I think it's 50% of body weight. No, I think it's 50% of you take your 3-rep back squat. 50% of that is what you're supposed to be able to do in a seated good morning. So I could probably 3-rep. I don't know, do it 140, 145. If you're talking kilos, so you should be able to do a 72 kilo seated good morning. I think I can do 60, 65. So it's getting close. It's getting close. It used to be like, I used to have like a hard time with like 40 kilos. And that was, and it's the same thing with other things. Like my RDLs come up at the same time. My back extension has come up. And I could tell when I do my lifts, like it very much was always my lower back was the problem, squatting, deadlifting, any of these things. And now it's like, it's much better. It's still the limiting factor generally. Like when I make the switch from heel elevated squats to flat ground squats, like my back is what'll limit me. And that's part of that is because you were such a ridiculous with my anatomy. I'm at like a very tight fold, but yeah, no, I mean that it has made a big difference for me.
What's your back squat? Your 3-rep back squat? Or what's your 1RM? Do you know what your 1RM is?
I did 325 for two like a month or so ago. So I could probably do
which
325
is,
for three. It's gonna be like 140,
yeah,
145, 147.
that's big.
308, 17. Yeah, it's like 1 4. It's close to 150.
Yeah, so that means you'd be pushing 155, 160 for a 1 rep max kilos.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I think your 3 rep max is supposed to be 96% of your
Mm-hmm.
1 rep, I think is the number. So yeah, call it 150 for a single. But that's with heel elevation. I don't think I'm that strong without the heel elevation.
Yeah. Do you think you find it easier? Obviously, you do with that heel elevation. Do you think that's the case for most people too? They would find it a little bit easier to actually do it with the heel elevation rather than without.
I don't actually. I think
Mm-hmm.
for if you pulled a random person out, well, the problem is almost like very few people can hit a full squat without the heel elevation.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue. But in terms of strength, if you just pulled out a random person, they'd be much better on flat ground than they would with heel elevation. But when you grab any ATG coach, I guarantee everybody's better with heel elevation.
Yeah.
Just because everybody's like, bend, knees, knees. Like, I have to have strong knees. And it's like, all right, your knees are strong. Like, let's chill out for a second and like let's make your posterior chain strong as well, so you can like actually squat big weight normally.
Yeah.
That's where I was. Still am a little bit now, less so now, but yeah, the heel elevation puts it more on the quads, and it's like I got really comfortable with that too. So it would just give me like I would need a couple cycles, and I'd probably be squatting as much, if not more, flat back squat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In terms of the like understanding that length as well. So like long range, for example, and any ATG coach would appreciate this too, is like having that elasticity or like that power within that lengthened position in terms of like, because your heels are elevated, you can get more out of that joint and that bounce out at the bottom. Would you say that has something to do with it too? Like having trained that for such a long period of time, and ATG coaches probably do train that more so than any other conventional back squatter would ever do. Do you think that would transfer into them being more comfortable in that position than like a conventional normal squat?
I don't know that there's significantly more stretch there for like a stretch reflex kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're looking at the short, long range, the squat's a mid-range exercise for the quads, just because of where like the force curve is, and I guess those terms haven't really been thrown around recently, and us or anybody else really. But I guess it's just implied knowledge at that point. But no, I think it's the quad thing. I think it's like I've been around a decent amount of ATG coaches, and it's like everybody you find is like, and myself included, you're like, oh, your posterior chain kind of sucks. Like, but your split squat is awesome. Your step ups are really good, and you can VMO squat quite a bit. But when you find the really strong guys, like some of the original ATG guys, and Ben doesn't get credit for how strong his posterior chain is. Like, I've seen him see the good morning 185, 205 or something, Ben Patrick.
Wow.
Pounds, not kilos. So I mean that's
Yeah,
like,
but still.
oh yeah, still a ton, like 80, 90 kilos. That what that would be? 68, yeah, like 80 or 90 kilos. And like he doesn't squat as much as some other people, but it's like sometimes you get so focused on the split squat and the heel elevated squat that you're like, yeah, RDLs and back extension and stuff are cool, but like Adon Lopez did a CT morning with 345 pounds on his back. Like
Wow.
that's why he can dunk from a standstill. Not that the split squat doesn't help a lot, but like, that's a ridiculously strong posterior chain. So I forgot where that came from, but yeah, you need both.
Yeah. So you're like, I would probably go ahead and say that like my posterior chain would probably be stronger than my than my squat and everything else, like just purely based upon my like the strength in terms of like what my hips have, like my ass cheeks, my hamstrings as well are considerably stronger. Like I got a chunky butt, man. Like if there's any girls listening to this podcast, you would be jealous of the size of my butt. But
oh, you and me both, brother. What have you tested your RDO?
Not for a long time, but last time I did, it was at like strict RDL was 130. So like this was probably 3-4 years ago. So I haven't done it in a long time. It would be actually really interesting after this 4 weeks to actually do some testing and to see where I'm at, like to test RDL, to test squat, even test like pressing. So like I didn't, as part of Muscle Club last year, we did bench press, and I hadn't benched in like consecutively in 2 years. I'd just done a whole bunch of bodyweight stuff, a whole bunch of handstands, a whole bunch of deficit push-ups, all that kind of stuff. Hadn't benched consecutively, probably more than 2 days in a row, and probably did something, I don't know, maybe to do with my chest less than once a month. I don't know what it was. I just didn't want to do it, and I wasn't really focusing that much attention on it. Went in, my original 1 rep max was 70, and I banged out 5 for 70 kgs. So like hadn't hardly done anything, and then bang out of nowhere. And then 82 for a 1 rep max. So it's like I've been doing a whole lot of the body weight, the single leg stuff, the lengthening, all that kind of, those kinds of exercises. So I really believe that there would be like a big kind of increase. Well, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but just getting comfortable in those positions is something that I think without the weight and doing the constant repetition of like body position, what are you feeling when you're doing it, actually getting that full range, like in a deficit push-up. Like you get some people that can get their chest down and their nose down, but like they like can't get their hips all the way to the floor while staying in that nice straight line. Like I always think about it, hips, chest, and nose, like hit the floor when you're doing a deficit push-up, or if you're doing a ring push-up, like getting right through and actually feeling that stretch at the front. So same goes for like those squats. If we're doing the VMO or the APG squats, like keeping that chest up as tall as you can, like literally it just staying in that position every single time. And I'll only progress the weight if I've done like a 10D10, for example, where it's just perfect. Every single rep is perfect. And recently I've been doing some stuff with Zach, and like I said to him, so he doesn't really have, he's been suffering a little bit with shin splints. And I'm like, when you do these exercises, like, do you focus on the movement? Like, do you actually concentrate on how you're doing this movement? And it's like, nah, I just kind of like load it up and then just try and bang out what I need to bang out and get it done and like push through. It's like, you have to focus on how you're doing that movement. So you're not bouncing out of this position. Like, no wonder why you've got shin splints. Bless you.
Thank you.
Well hidden. No wonder why you've got like shin splints, or your ankles are terrible and they're really sore. And it's like, just focus on how you're doing the movement. Like really slow down the movement. Focus on the intention of the movement. Focus on how you're doing it, and then watch everything and feel everything start to get better. And he's been doing it for less than 2 weeks. Yeah. And he's right. Nothing. Doesn't feel like there's overload. Doesn't feel like I'm fatiguing. I can feel other things working as well, instead of the constant shin feeling that he's getting when he was getting a shin splint. He's back into playing footy again. So like, that's where it's at. Is actually having that dedication to focus on the movement. Like, for example, if you're doing an RDL, when you're doing your RDL, what do you feel? Like, do you feel your shoulders and your neck as you're trying to pull that weight back up? Or do you actually feel that lengthen through the hamstrings? Do you feel both hamstrings, or do you feel one hamstring? Like, what is it that you feel? And I'm a big believer in like that slow intention behind actually doing the movement correctly and properly will get you so much further than any additional weight will get you. If you can have that, like that concentration of doing 5 reps perfect, like I'm talking, there is not a thing out of line. It's just perfect. You will notice some incredible benefits. Guaranteed. I believe.
Yeah. I have a theory that that's why a lot of people's lifting doesn't translate to athleticism. Because like, oh yeah, you could squat 4 plates. Like, yeah, it looks like you're having a seizure when you do it. Like come on, man. Like that's not a lift that's gonna transfer over. But then you see all these ATG guys that are like, oh yeah, I squat 195 pounds. Like I squat 95 kilos. And then they're flying. But it's like, it's the most perfect controlled deep squat you've ever seen. And it's like, yeah, you could do more if you want to have one of the aneurysm squats. Like you could push more weight, but like that's I think that's one of the reasons it doesn't help people sometimes. It's like, yeah, oh, your calves aren't growing. Yeah, it looks like I've heard some different analogies for that I probably won't say on here, but like you're just bouncing out of your squats. You're not getting to the top and you're not getting to the bottom. You're just doing this stupid little thing where you're like hanging out in the middle and you're like, oh, my calves aren't getting any bigger. It's like, yeah, because you're not doing anything for them, man. Like it's I think that's a big issue of why things don't work for a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, you can't, strength without the control is like not strength anymore, but then just controlling no weight also is kind of stupid. So you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a pain perspective, obviously with no load is imperative. Like you can't, if you're experiencing pain in a lift, you need to drop that down to 0 until you can do it with your body weight, pain free.
Yeah,
like
not no load in terms of like body weight is stupid, but like if you could squat 100 kilos, you're like, well, I can control 50 really good. You're like, yeah, all right, well, you're an idiot. That's stupid. Don't do that. That's what I meant by no load.
Yeah, exactly. And I've gained more of an appreciation for what I feel ATG is at the moment, like doing more of the dense stuff, and then obviously eventually moving into the standards and all that kind of stuff. You actually can, you feel you feel like the front and the back and the sides of you are just getting everything pushed at you. There's it's almost like they're all accessory, but they're not just accessory workouts. Like they've been used as accessory workouts before, as in like accessory exercises. But now it's like there's actual intention behind these movements. Like I said, when I'm doing the external rotators, I'm like, oh, I can feel like that burn big time. It's like usually you see people just doing this in the gym to warm up for their bench press, or they're doing these ones. And it's like when you can actually get intention behind that movement and you can slowly squeeze out every small little bit that you've got, it's like that's when you start to notice those gains.
Yeah, that's what ATG is. It's turning the little things into big things without forgetting that the big things are still big things. I think sometimes people take it too far. But speaking of rotator cuff, my favorite rotator cuff exercise when I see people holding a dumbbell like that and then just being like, all right, rotator cuff. What the hell is that, man? You know how your rotator cuff works? Like you're not doing anything. Like you have to go like this. Like you can hit a cable, you can do it like that, but like this is just like a bicep exercise. Hilarious.
Milking a cow.
Yeah, really.
On the side. Not getting
I don't know why this cow is laying down, but like yeah. Whatever. That's funny. My dad used to be a dairy farmer.
Yeah, you said your whole family is dairy farmers, aren't they? They were once upon a time. They still are.
Yeah, some of them are, some of them aren't at this point. But I don't think he ever milked a cow when it was laying down like that. I can't imagine.
Cows on the side. It's like, come get me.
Yeah, the cows like walking this thing and then they just go. Yeah, I'm sure he wish he had that, but he Yeah, he just got kicked by a whole bunch of cows, so he's got
Oh, I can imagine.
he's got some problem. But it's like getting kicked by a cow can hit by a defender. It's the same thing.
Is it? I mean,
No,
depends who's. It depends who the defender is. If it's me,
then it's like
maybe.
getting hit by the tail or something. Yeah.
But you're the fly. That's the tail's hitting the fly. That's what fly man.
I see how it is. I see how it is. The problem is the tail can never hit the fly. It just flies away.
Yeah, it does. It does. I've got a fly in here at the moment. I don't know if you've noticed. It just keeps it's landing like on the camera lens. And it's just one fly. It's like there's no flies anywhere else. There's just one fly. It's just like there on the camera every time. It's all right. I'm gonna get it.
Our guest today, the fly in your garage.
It's just this one random fly. There's not a single fly anywhere else. It's just one random fly. Maybe because it's too cold outside. Decided to come in here because it's a little bit warmer. Speaking of cold, is it sunny there yet? I can see a little bit of sun piercing through the curtains there.
It's nice today. Today's like, what would that be? 20 degrees Celsius? Not quite 20.
Beautiful.
15-ish. I'm getting real good at this Celsius and kilos thing. Like
you are.
I'm getting good at the.
It's really transferring to what it should be. Like you should be at that. We shouldn't be at this Fahrenheit pounds crap. It should just be. That's why I'm not going the other way, because I know it's just kilos. We should just keep it. It's better to train in kilos than it is in pounds, isn't it? Tell me I'm wrong.
The thing about Fahrenheit and pounds is that like if I want to count up in kilos, it's like that's such a big jump to go up 5 kilos. Like then you have to be like, where's my 17 and a half? Like who wants to count in half units? Like just let me have my 35 and my 40 and my 45.
You're still counting up in fives. It's too. That's just as big. That's even bigger.
But it's half the amount of weight jump.
Yeah, righto.
In solid numbers.
Yeah, but half is just. We're just a little smarter down under. You know, we can do halves. I just don't think you could do the halves. Is that what it is?
I'm the one who can do all the calculations between the two of us.
You never said. I never said I couldn't. I'm just letting you do it. That's why it's all you. It's all you. You just do all the calculations.
Everything now we're at 11. Celsius and kilo. It's just like squished together. It's like there's no range. It's like 0 to 100 versus 0 to 212.
You just make it more complicated just because you can make it more complicated. Is that why?
No, it's like.
What's 100? What's boiling point in Fahrenheit? When does it boil?
212, obviously.
No, but why? Why is it not just 100?
Why is it not 200?
Because like it's 100. It just is 100, and it's not 200. 200. Didn't you say it's 212?
Yeah.
Why is it 212?
Why is it 100?
Because that's just a round number, which is like perfect for everybody.
Why don't we just make it 10 then?
Well, we probably could. It should just be 10 degrees. Imagine that. Then you have a whole bunch of halves. Imagine that. 11.5 degrees, 11.75 degrees. You would go crazy.
Why don't we just put all the temperatures on a 0 to 1 scale? Oh, it's a third of a degree outside today? Oh, how convenient. What a stupid idea.
2.5. Remember, we're going to increase by 2.5. Why? What? So, okay. Let's actually go back to that, because I remember Poliquin talking about this, or someone was saying that Poliquin was talking about this, that you want everything to be in kilos. Like it's better to work out in kilos. I might be dreaming, and I'm not trying to poke the bear or anything here. This is an honest question. But I
actually do like kilos better, but.
Okay, so I just wanted to hear you say that. Cool. Now that we've got that, we're going to move on. But no, serious. Why is kilos better, in your opinion?
I don't actually have a reason why it's better. It's just like round. They're just like round numbers.
Oh, okay. So just because it's easier. All right. So that whole conversation we had beforehand was null and void. Is that where we're going with all of this?
No. Like it's. I don't like that a plate is 45 pounds, but I also don't like that if I want to go up like a reasonable amount of weight, I have to go up like 2.5 kilos.
It just sounds like being lazy. That doesn't sound like you, Matt. You sound.
I don't want these halves. Like If I someday I'll get a set of kilo dumbbells and there will be no halves. It'll be like 1, 2, 3, or 4. It'd be like 1 or 2 or 3 kilo increments. I refuse to have the halves.
Okay, so just every kilo, just have every kilo instead of going up. So go from 15 to 16 instead of 17.5.
Yeah, sure. I think Clearfield's gym is every half kilo.
That's nuts.
Well, it was Poliquin's old dumbbell set. So it's if you ever look at it, it's like this entire room and the whole wall is just different dumbbells, and they're all the Watson ones.
They twist. Are they the ones that rotate?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could buy a house with those dumbbells probably.
Yeah, wow.
The other day I saw, this is, if we're talking about dumbbells, the other day I was looking online, I was just looking at dumbbells, and I found another set that's like, they're iron dumbbells and they have the fat grip rotating handles, and they had this cool adjustable thing where there was like 10 dumbbells and they're on this cart that's only like not that big, so it doesn't take up very much space. And they had like, it would have been like 5 through 20, the actual dumbbells, and they would have had like 30, 45, 60, 75, and 90. And then to get the increments, they had magnetic plates that you stuck on the end.
Wow.
I was like, that's so sick. Like, maybe I'll get that. Jesus, man. I went to go look how much they were. They were $22,000
USD.
US. It would have been $33,000 Australian.
But that would be a deposit on a house. That would be a car if you want to.
It was 10 pairs of dumbbells. And then a couple increment things and a stand.
You're really trying to sell it to me right now, aren't you?
Well, I really want it, but like, I'm not paying $22,000 for 10 dumbbells. You think you're paying $2,000 a dumbbell? You're out of your mind. That's ridiculous.
Is it worth that though? Like, would you say it's worth that?
Do I think the dumbbells are worth it?
Yeah.
I don't. I think, because you can get 40 Watson dumbbells, I think, for that price. Like, you could get, I think, 10 kilos to 50 in 2.5 kilo increments for like the same price. Yeah. It just takes up a lot more space, but like, there's no way I would buy that instead of 40 Watson dumbbells. Not that I'm trashing on this place. Like, I'm sure that they make nice dumbbells, but like, holy shit, man, that's so much money.
$22,000. $22,000
before tax, before shipping, whatever. And
then before that damn international transaction fee too. Oof, I'd be pushing 40,000 Australian dollars. 100%.
Probably. I don't know that they would ship to you down there, and they only come in pounds.
Oh, not worth it. Not worth it. Nah.
That's your reason that it wasn't worth it.
I would honestly pay $40,000 for dumbbells if they were in kilos. So yeah.
Oh, I'm sure if you paid them $40,000, they could put them in kilos for you.
Yeah, maybe I might think about it. I might dwell on that for a little bit. I
mean, it was nice because it was like, there isn't another way that you can get 2.5 pound to 102.5 pound dumbbells in like less than the size of this like couch I'm sitting on, which is, I guess it's a love seat. It's not a, like, I can easily reach my hand around both ends. Like, it's in a really tight space to have really nice dumbbells that are that whole weight, but man,
it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot.
Watson makes adjustable dumbbells that are Poliquin style. So the fat grip, revolving handle, you can buy them and then you just put plates on them. Still, man, like $1,000 to get that and the plates for it.
Wow.
After shipping.
I guess, like, when I asked if it's worth it, like, it would be worth it for some people. I guess it's just what you value it. Like, that's a big thing for me. It's like, what do I, even like, without going on the whole tangent of what do I value, it's like, do you find this to be valuable to you? Could just be like, not even from a monetary perspective. or a financial perspective? Do you find value in having these as part of your gym or as part of your exercise selection or whatever else you find of value? Is it valuable to you? No, maybe not. Is it because of the price? Yes. But is it actually valuable to you? Well, maybe not. Like, I'm sure that if I asked you that question again, you would probably say yes. Like, if price wasn't a problem, would you find these valuable?
Oh, like, yeah, I would find them valuable at like 10 grand. If they were $10,000, I would seriously consider putting the money for it over time. Like,
how many are there of them?
You'll have everything from 2.5 to 102.5 pounds in 2.5 increments. So it would be like having 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15, 17.5, all the way up 100, 102.5 in pounds. So it's like having a kilo to 48, 47 kilos in single kilo jumps.
Mhm.
But yeah, just because it's so small, like, I don't have the room to put a full set of 40 watts and dumbbells in my garage. I could make room for that set.
Yeah.
For $22,000, probably not. For 10, that might be it.
You could
There's
justify.
there was a number somewhere between 22,000 and like $7,000. That it's like, yeah, that's where it just becomes too much money.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your, just going, now we can go on a tangent. What are your values? Like, do you think about what is valuable to you or what is valuable to yourself? And like, it doesn't have to be physical things like a set of dumbbells, but like, okay, so for example, my values: honesty, trust, and like friendship and relationships. They're probably three of my highest values, and love. Like, they're probably the four biggest values that I hold at the moment. Like, I think it's cool to not I think it's cool, I think it's necessary to have thought about what you value, because then that's kind of like the person that you are, or that's the person that you want to be. Have you ever thought about values before?
Not like that, no. If you wouldn't have answered it before I answered it, I would have just said time.
Yeah, that's a big value for you.
Yeah, that's the value that I'm working towards, is time, just to spend as much time as you want, how you want it.
Yeah. How do you see that?
I don't know right now, to be fair. I don't know. That is something I wish I had an answer for you for. I don't think that sentence made sense, but that's something I wish I had an answer for you about, but I don't right now, to be fair. It's like there's a whole bunch of things that go into it.
Do you feel like there's, like, you obviously know you can't have more time, but you would like to spend time doing the things that you want to do. So like, what are those things that you want to do?
Like, here's an example, I guess, that you could use it. Like, I would love to have a dog, but if I have a dog and I want to go to California for 2 months, hard to have a dog. Or if I want to go to Montenegro for a week and then stop by in Vanuatu for a week and stay out of Australia because of spiders, but then maybe I go to Florida for a month. Like, hard to bring a dog and do all of that. I think that's kind of the answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it sounds like, so it sounds like companionship is obviously high on your values, and like having someone to share that your life with, whether it's like a dog or it's like family or your girlfriend or whatever, like having someone to share that time with is important to you. So like, it sounds like love is high on your values list. This is just me spitballing as well. It could not be, and yeah, it's just an interesting way of thinking about like what you value most, not who you value most, or like physically, as in like you value the, like I said, the set of dumbbells or the workout equipment or whatever. But what are your values like, and what do you value most? And time is a big one. Like that's great. You value time the most because you want to get the most out of the time that you've got. Because we've only got like, I was talking with someone the other day about it. Like, it's cool to think about having each day, at the end of each day, like imagining that that's like the end of your life kind of thing. Because you wake up, well, you might not wake up the next morning. And so then when you do wake up, it's like you've got this feeling of, oh, cool, we're going again. Like this is just a new start to something, a new day. Like it's not just something progressive. It's just a wake up and we go again. And another really awesome way to think about it, which like has really changed my perspective on money and finances. Like initially it was all about like, let's make this money because it's important, because I need to have a lot of this money. And it's like, do I need it or do I want it? And what value would you put? And for those listening too, you can have a think about this as well if you've made it this far in the podcast. What value would you put on not waking up the next morning? Would you rather have $1 billion or wake up the next morning? Like what would there be a value for you? I can tell you mine's zero. Like I would rather wake up the next morning than have any value like of anything, whether it's $1 million or $1 billion, like, and you've just got that money to use for the day and then afterwards see you later. Like that's it. There is no more value. Would there be a number for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a number. Would you put a number? How much would you pay for an extra day at the end of your life?
That's a good question.
I think that's a more reasonable question because nobody would say $45 for tomorrow. I don't.
Some people might do like, if I had $1 billion right now, I'm going to be for the day and I wouldn't wake up next morning. That's actually a cooler way of putting it.
Yeah.
What would I spend for another day?
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah.
I don't know. So, I don't know if I would spend anything for another day. Yeah. Because if I like, then I would need to have that money and I would spend all this time making all this money to then spend it on one more day. Like it just wouldn't make sense to me.
I mean, what would you spend for 365 more days?
All right. Psychologist Scar, Mr. Scar, Dr. Scar.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different way of putting it. Like it's.
What would you? Okay, what would you do?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, tomorrow. The thing is, tomorrow is worth everything to the majority of people. Tomorrow is worth everything. Eventually, that tomorrow will be the day that you're putting value on now.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, what are you putting on now? Like $1 million? Would you pay say you have $400 million right now? Would you pay $365 million for an extra year at the end of your life? Right now, you'd be like, I don't know about that. But in 60 years from now, whatever, you might be like, oh yeah, oh no, I'll give you all the money for an extra year. Like this isn't what the time value of money means, but like this is the time value of money.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with health.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you like, I don't know, you're probably in a different position than I am, but like if you I mean,
just ask.
When you have like I'm trying to like figure, like if you have a cold, like the cold is a bad example of this, but like if you transport yourself back 2 years or whatever and you had all the knee problems still, and somebody was like, all right, what would you give up for your knees just to be healthy for the rest of your life? I'm sure you'd have been like, yeah, you could just have everything I have right now. Like, you could take all of it. Just, I'll restart. You could wipe the slate, and if you just give me healthy knees, like, cool, I'm fine.
Yeah, I guess that's hindsight though.
Yeah, well,
like it's taking hindsight into consideration.
I don't know. I mean, I've had that thought of like, I mean, my ankle's getting better, but I've also had the thought of like, if you could just guarantee me right now that my left ankle would be my right ankle, and like they're just fine for the rest of my life, like you could probably just take everything I have. Like I don't have that much right now. Like you could just have all of it. I'll do it again. Like, nope, not a worry to me.
Yeah, but isn't that something in the journey too? Like the process of getting that ankle better. Like if someone could just go, "Yep, give me everything you got, and I'll fix it right now." I think that there's more now. I appreciate it. In that time, I probably would have wanted to have given them everything to have fixed it. But now I look at it and be like, well, it's all part of the journey and it's all part of the processing of it. Like to get my knee better, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't take the time to do what I needed to do to try and get my knee better. Same goes with your ankle too. Like you wouldn't have been doing the same thing, I assume anyway. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now to have gotten your knee better. You wouldn't be in this position where you are right now. You know, so like it's not like a direct trade-off, I think anyway.
Maybe a better example would have been 3 years ago. Everything for the ankle. Now, everything for the ankle, or just giving an exact path to follow to fix it.
Would you follow it if you had an exact path that you knew or that you were told would fix it, regardless if something else came out that was quote unquote better and would fix it better for you or fix it quicker for you? Would you stick to that path?
If I had a path that was like 100%, this will fix it, there was nothing you could do to get me off of it. You could give me like, this is going to fix it in 15 days. I would, nope, this is 100%.
You wouldn't get tempted?
No. The problem is if it was like, this is the path in 20 years to fix it, then I would be like, I think I'll stick to my guns here. But like, there's some amount of time in between 1 and 20 years that it's like, that's my amount of time is, you know. And that's the problem is you never know.
Yeah. Fortunately and unfortunately, it's kind of the position I'm in right now, waiting for my birth of my child, where it's like, it could be now, it could be in another 2 weeks. Like I know that that's not 20 years. It is cool. It is like, it's awesome to think about though, that in 20 years time, I'm going to have, well, yeah, I hope to have a 20-year-old son or daughter, you know, that is going to be like the extension of my wife and myself, which is so cool to think about, you know. Or they could just be completely different to both of us. Like who knows what they could be. It's just I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I like to think about, sometimes I like to think about how long 20 years is and how old I'll be in 20 years. How old
will you be in 20 years? 43.
43.
43. Yeah.
43. You'll be 48.
49. Close.
49.
Yeah.
Close. Just
49.
about.
Just about. Yeah.
At that point, it'll be like we're the same age. Once you get to
the
40s, I feel like they're all like the same. They're all like the same number then.
Literally
now I can I can make all the old jokes I want now because you're almost 30.
It's coming, man. It's coming. It is literally around the corner when I think about it. But even that, like, want to do like a 30th celebration for a 30th birthday, and yeah, cool. Like, I'll do that. I'll do a dress up party or something just to make it fun. But like, for me, I honestly do not feel old. I know I kind of like, I like bag myself a little bit. Yeah, I just accept. Yeah, I honestly still feel like I'm 16. Like that's how I honestly feel. I still remember my 16th birthday. That's exactly how I feel every single moment, every single year from then on in. Still feel like a 16-year-old. Maybe that's why I'm like not. Maybe that's why I'm the joker in our relationship, and like I don't take things seriously all the time. But anyway, it
Yeah,
is what it is.
I think that's a place to wrap it up here for this
I
week.
like it. I like it.
Where how's the program? Where can everybody find it? Where can everybody reach out to you?
Yeah, Coach Carly with the 3 eyes on the Instagram. The program, I'm starting to pull back a little bit from the online stuff. We gave it a bit of a shot. I'm gonna be doing a lot more in person now. I've just found that like working on myself a little bit more has been appropriate. Like this is something I'm gonna focus on, and it's something that, not that I don't want to do the online stuff. That's going to be coming back eventually. But for now, it's just you want help. I'm more than happy to give as much as I can. Like I want to be able to help you if you're in my situation, or if you've come back from an injury or something like that. I really want to be able to give you as much attention as possible, rather than just the online stuff, which is what I feel it was. So we'll go through these journeys and go through this path, and we'll do it all again. But yeah, where's everyone going to?
Yeah, score performance everywhere. You know where to find me. It'll be in these will all be in the box below. So, all right, everybody made it this far. Appreciate you for listening, and we'll see everybody next week.
See you guys.